Original document signed by the 7 leaders was displayed on the table. The walls were filled with photographs and graphics showing the achievements of the pact. The African Union gold had reached a stable value in world currency market. The continent's natural resources were now being used for the prosperity of its own people. The West's sanctions had not been as effective as expected because Africa had succeeded in establishing a self-sufficient economic system. That night here around this table, we had a dream, said Traoré to a young Ghanaian journalist beside him. Today, that dream has become reality outside the museum. In the streets of Accra, people continued their daily lives, but now there was a different expression on their faces. Pride and hope. Africa's economic independence story had begun with just the courage and vision of 7 leaders. Now this vision was spreading across the entire continent, and at the center of this story stood Ibrahim Traoré, who had decided to change the continent's future. In a secret meeting, Africa's destiny, said Traoré as he left the museum, is now in our own hands. He showed the first coins to the people. This is the symbol of our freedom. The Western world quickly responded with economic sanctions, trade restrictions, blocking of international payments, and diplomatic pressures began against the member countries of the African Development Pact. However, these pressures led to an unexpected effect. More African countries announced they wanted to join the pact. First Senegal, then the Democratic Republic of Congo and Tanzania announced they would accept the African Union goal. Within 3 months, the African Development Pact had transformed into a union, covering 15 countries of the continent. The resource and trade flows that the West had long controlled were now under Africa's control. Ibrahim Traoré at the official signing ceremony held in Accra. The vision that once began in a secret meeting had now transformed into a reality, shaping the continent's future. The wealth derived from Africa's resources will now remain on African soil, said Traoré in his speech. We have come to the end of centuries of economic exploitation. Now we will write our own destiny. A year later, Ibrahim Traoré visited the old building in Era where it all began. The building had now been transformed into a museum, the Museum of African Economic Independence. The historic meeting room in the basement had been preserved. A copy of the television interrupted its normal program to broadcast Ibrahim Traoré's speech. At the same time, similar speeches were being broadcast in the other 6 countries. Traoré, in his military uniform, was looking at the cameras determinedly. People of Burkina Faso and all my African brothers and sisters, he began. This evening we are opening a new page in the history of our continent. Today, I officially declare the African Development Pact and our new currency, the African Union gold. During his speech, he explained the details of the pact, the combined gold reserves of 7 countries, common trade policies, independence from the Western financial system. They will tell us this is impossible, said Traoré. They will tell us you will fail, but history favors the brave. Africa's time has come. At the end of the speech, the Burkina Faso flag and the newly designed African Union gold symbol were shown side by side. The speeches created shock waves worldwide. Western economists said this move was dangerous and destabilizing. The IMF and World Bank held emergency meeting. The French government condemned the rebellion in the CFA Franc region. However, in African streets, there was a different reaction. People took to the streets to celebrate the bold decision of their leaders. A wave of hope was rising across the continent, from Dar to Lagos, from Bamako to Accra. The coup attempt in Mali failed. Ahmed Tay, with the support of the people, defeated the French-backed coup plotter. Similar attempts in other countries were also prevented. Within a week, the first physical samples of the African Union gold were minted and shown to the public. The gold-colored coins featured the silhouette of the African continent, and the slogan Unity, Power, Independence. This is not just a currency, said Traoré, as each leader provided information about the preparations in their own country. Gold transfers had already begun secret. Agreements had been made for printing the new currency within a month, said Traoré. The world will meet anew. Economic power, the African Union, however, accelerating the plans, also increased the risks. Traoré examined the intelligence reports. French special services were in increased activity. The former colonial powers were determined to prevent Africa's bold move. Gomes said Tro to his intelligence chief, raise security measures to the highest level. I want to be informed immediately if there's any sign of threat. That night, as Tro sat alone on the palace balcony, he was thinking about the continent's future. Africa's riches had been flowing outward for centuries. Gold, diamonds, oil, cobalt, all these valuable resources were providing very little benefit to the people of the continent. This will change, he murmured to himself. Now we will determine our own destiny. His thoughts were interrupted by his phone ringing. He saw that the caller was Mali leader Ahmed Tay Ibrahim, said Tay in an anxious voice. There's a coup attempt. A group of French-backed soldiers is surrounding the palace. Tro's heart tightened. Ahmed, are you safe? He asked. For now, my loyal troops are fighting, but the situation is critical. The West has taken action to stop our plan. Traoré immediately took action. He called Gum and explained the situation. Then he informed the other leaders. This is just the beginning, said Nigerian leader Okafor. We are all under threat. Then we can't wait, said Trey. We need to announce the plan now. We must catch the West unprepared. The 7 leaders, with a sudden decision, decided to announce the African Development Pact and the new currency, African Union Gold. Immediately each would make a speech on national television at the same time this evening. At 8 p.m., said Traoré, the date for Africa's Declaration of Freedom has been set at 8 p.m. Burkina Faso National Internal Affairs. The ambassador's face reamed further. This is not an internal matter, President Traoré. This is a matter concerning the stability of the international financial system. Traoré responded firmly. So Africa's economic independence threatens international financial stability. Is that it? In interesting perspective, you're misunderstanding the issue, said Lacqua. France has been supporting West Africa's development for many years. The CFA franc is part of this support. The CFA franc, said Traoré, is a chain that prevents Africa's economic independence, and we are determined to break that chain. The ambassador couldn't hide his surprise. Tro's open talk had caught him unprepared. Is this a threat, President Tro? He asked. No, ambassador, said Tro. This is a declaration. Africans will determine Africa's economic future. After the ambassador left, Traoré immediately gathered his foreign affairs team. The West is learning about our plan, he said. We need to accelerate our timeline. Contact the other leaders. We can't wait 3 months. We must make the announcement in 1 month. A teleconference system was set up, and a secure call was made with the other leaders who participated in the meeting. In Accra, all of them approved accelerating the plan. The West is in panic, said Nigerian President Okafor. Their ambassadors visited me too. They brought offers mixed with threats and bribes. The same situation is happening in Mali, added Tay, but we won't back down. Reserves included in this pact. Yes, Trey confirmed. Nigeria, Chad, and other oil-producing countries have agreed to include their resources in the pact. The African Union Gold will be backed by both physical gold and oil reserves. This could be one of the strongest currencies in the world, said the central bank president, his eyes shining. And that's what the West fears, added Traoré. Africa's true economic independence, too. Weeks passed while Traoré was working in his office at the Palace. Gum rushed in. Mr. President, French intelligence has learned about our meeting, he said, showing the reports in his hand. The first reactions have started coming. Traoré calmly asked, what kind of reaction, eh? Smear campaign has been launched in Western media. Articles are being published describing you and other leaders as authoritarian. Also, the French ambassador is requesting an urgent meeting. Traoré smiled. I will meet with the ambassador, but first we have our meeting with our economy team. We need to accelerate our plan. Gum looked worried. Mr. President, the French may not be limited to media and diplomacy. There could be physical threats. I know, Gum said. Traoré, that's why I had a secret meeting with our army commanders last week. We are prepared for every possible scenario. French ambassador Pierre Lacroix was waiting in the palace's reception hall. He looked tense and impatient when Traoré entered in his simple military uniform. The ambassador's face reined. Mr. President, said the ambassador in a formal tone, I must convey a very important message to you. I'm listening, ambassador, said Traoré calmly. The French government has received concerning news about some economic plans tampering with the West African economic system could have serious consequences for the region. Traoré went behind his desk and motioned for the ambassador to sit. Ambassador Lacroix, he said, I'd like to remind you that I have the right to determine my country's economic policies. France has no right to interfere in Burkina Faso's to stop worrying about us and start worrying about itself. How long do you think they will take to react? Asked AJ. Western intelligence services will learn about this meeting within a week, said Traoré, but it will take them much longer to learn the details of the agreement. By then we will have already taken action. 3 days later, Ibrahim Traoré returned to Burkina Faso. This trip, which appeared in his official program as a visit to Ghana, was a routine diplomatic visit from the outside. Traoré met with a small team in his private room at the palace. There were only 4 people in the room: the foreign minister, the central bank president, the economy minister, and intelligence chief. In 3 months we will announce the African Union gold, said Traoré. We must start the process of combining all our gold reserves. This is a direct blow to French influence, Mr. President said. The foreign minister in a concerned voice, the reaction will be harsh. I know, said Traoré. That's why we need to take all security measures before making the announcement. Ensure the army is prepared. The economy minister asked, what will determine the value of our new currency? Gold, said Traoré. Unlike the West's paper money, our currency will be directly backed by gold reserves. This will ensure it has real value. What about oil? Asked the central bank president. Our Nigeria's oil